Hi, and welcome to Health Crash TV, the place to be to overcome your health crash and reclaim your health. I'm Claire Temple, I'm a naturopath and a health coach. Now, have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, you just can't quite reach the success you want? And in fact, the harder you try, the more tired you get and the more frustrated you feel. And that frustration comes because you know you're doing the right things. You know you're not quitting. You know that you're putting your all in. You know that you've got discipline and it never seems to be quite enough, no matter how much you try to structure your day or try to be productive. Either the things just don't happen, something else gets in the way, or when you do achieve it tastes bittersweet. It doesn't ever really feel like you get there enough. And the consequence of that is that you keep trying, but because you can't give up, obviously, you keep trying. But deep down, you just feel like you're failing. And then this eats away at you. And maybe you found that that's part of your health crash. I certainly, when I was trying to figure out why I was struggling with my energy and with my fatigue, looking at myself and trying to get more self awareness, I really understood that part of my makeup, kind of an A-type personality, a bit of a perfectionist, and I have a lot of drive and ambition. And part of that drive and ambition was leading me to push myself very hard. So when I came to a healing journey and it was all about resting and looking after yourself and being kind and compassionate, part of me was really annoyed by that because I was thinking, no, I don't want to. I don't want it to be an either or. I want to be well to achieve things. I don't want to realize that it was only because I wanted to achieve things that I had made myself ill. And so I started looking for different ways of looking at it. And I came across Brené Brown, who talked about healthy striving, and it completely put it in perspective for me. And so that's what I want to share with you today. I want to talk about how we can take overdriving and what that is and what that looks like and change it so that we're more focused on healthy striving and why that's different and why we means we can have both. We can have where we look after ourselves and honor ourselves and feel like we're achieving and feel like we have high standards and we're doing excellent things without sacrificing our health. So look at my definition of overdriving. So what it looks like is ambition that leads to working too hard for too long, and the need to succeed which comes at the expense of your own well-being, and the feeling that you are never doing quite enough to be good enough, so you never give yourself a break. And that's certainly what it was like for me, and it still can be. It's that tendency to be drawn towards pushing yourself. It's kind of like the athlete mentality of never quit, and the social media hustle mentality that we have, where you get up, you work hard, you keep working hard, you work harder than everybody else, you put in more than everyone else, you leave it all out there. But this is my experience. So I always believed that hard work, consistency, never giving up, never backing down, persistence and self-sacrifice was the recipe to achieve great things. But all I achieved was a great big burnout and risked everything good that life has to offer. And I would definitely say that there's numerous clients who come to work with me who feel exactly the same. So here are a couple of my clients and how they described their life before they started working on themselves. So I was in a constant cycle of ups and downs, huge lapses of motivation, depression and fatigue, combined with times of overtraining, hard dieting, and a constant need to overachieve. And then Dani, I was stressed, working incredibly hard, running my business and trying to be a mum, a wife, and run a home. I was unhappy with no time or energy to spend with friends or family. Life had got so out of balance. And you can have a look at both Amy and Dani's full case studies down below to read kind of where they started and what they were able to change and how they feel afterwards. So let's just look at a few characteristics of what I've noticed about the kind of people who overdrive and some of the attributes and qualities they have. So here we have, they often suffer from imposter syndrome, which is that sense you're doing something and people who do think you're doing okay, it's only a matter of time before they find out. Fighters, very tough people, intelligent, they put in loads of effort. They tend to hide their struggles, so they won't necessarily open up or admit when they are having an issue. They find it hard to say no, and they ignore their symptoms. And they're ambitious, they have high expectations, but they also people please. They do thrive on being needed. It's a massive comfort and feeling of validation, and they do a lot for others. So they're very generous with their time and are constantly overextending themselves as well. They've been through a lot in their life. They're independent, they're tough, and they're also really hard on themselves and a perfectionist or has perfectionist tendencies. So maybe you recognize yourself in that or in some of those words. So this is what I'm going to do. We're going to ask you this question to help you focus on where to shift. So what's your drive fueled by? To just have a think. All that ambition, maybe the people pleasing or the hiding your struggles so you're not asking for help. What's it fueled by? What me leads to you wanting success and you have high expectations? So whatever you thought of, does it come from a place of internal desire or external recognition? So internal desire is that sense within you that it's right for you and your energy is, it matches your ambition. And the other is, I kind of think of it as a biscuit. So when you're training a dog, like my Labrador Red, get her to do something and with the promise of a biscuit, and then when she does it, she gets a biscuit. So she'll do the action happily, knowing that the biscuit's at the end of it. But that biscuit comes from outside of her. It's like an external reward or an external dopamine spike or a pat on the head or pat on the dog. So where is your drive fueled from? Is it fueled by internal desire or external recognition? And it may be a mix of both. So when we're healthy striving, let's have a look at a different definition now. So when we're healthy striving, this is what it feels like instead. So you feel energized to work for something, you feel you're on purpose and are able to enjoy the achievements you get. There's a sense of doing things wholeheartedly, and in that you're aligned with your core values and engaged with what you're doing because of an internal desire. You take pride in your efforts, knowing that you are being true to yourself and your needs. And here's the thing, it's the direction that counts. So what do I mean by that? So where you're setting yourself as a goal to achieve, that is defined by either the internal desire and the reward that you'll get from it. So it ticks your internal happiness boxes, you're being true to yourself and your needs, or it's coming from the seeking out a biscuit. Brené Brown was talking about advising her daughter going off to college, and she said, don't go and do what you think you should do because you'll get a good job at the end of it. Go and explore all of the different options. Maybe you'll like them, maybe you won't, maybe they'll work out, maybe they won't, but go and experiment, go and explore, go and see what fits with you and what you really enjoy doing. And the reason that she'd encouraged her to do this because she'd seen so many people in midlife hit this kind of burnout where they'd gone off to be a lawyer or get a sensible job, train in something where they knew they were secure or it was well respected, but their heart wasn't in it. So they were kind of doing it for ambition and for good reasons, just not reasons which tied in with their core values, their real needs, and what actually was going to energize them and make them healthy and happy at the end of the day. So we kind of fear that in case it's flaky or in case we're playing or in case we're not taking life seriously. But maybe we take life so seriously that we're missing out so much on the stuff that really fuels us and lights our fire and gives us passion and helps keep our energy and health buoyant. So how do we do that? So let me take you through a few building blocks of how you would then create more internal desire and be sure, kind of have the read on what that feels like and that it's right for you. So we have here your core values, which I've mentioned. These are things that are important to you. And when you're in conflict with your core values, you feel it at a very primal and deep level. The 4P compass is a model of mine where we find out what you're fueled by. Where do you get inspiration? What's your passion? We find out what your purpose is and where you want to spend your energy that's going to give you a real internal feeling of reward. We look at poise, which is how you keep your energy in balance, and we look at play, which is what are you going to use that energy for? Because, my belief about building health and about getting our things lined up in life isn't to be good enough or measure up to an external standard or everybody else think we're good. It's to actually just enjoy the things that we like doing. We set holistic goals. So if we're very work focused, looking at our goals within the context of our whole life. We're prepared to heal trauma. So we're prepared to go back and look at the painful stuff and process it and let it go. We're older now than we were when we experienced certain humiliations or hard times. And so we're in a better position now to go back and process that in a healthy way, whereas we may not have had the capacity or the tools to at the time. And all of this takes self-awareness, courage, and vulnerability. So the vulnerability to be honest with ourselves and to really admit what matters to us, who we are and what we want. The courage to then go and take action on that. And the self-awareness is just a constant checking in that we do. And so you remember one of the traits of the people who have this tendency to overdrive is ignoring symptoms. So we're feeling tired, we crash on anyway, we have some coffee, we go to work in any case. Those kind of things, they're the important things to overcome. And then we've got gratitude and enjoyment. And these are quite reflective. And sometimes they seem quite trite. They're thrown around about, just have gratitude and just go with the flow and be zen. But be used well and used in conjunction with these practical building blocks, we can achieve amazing, amazing things and feel good on the inside while we're doing them. So I hope you're able to use some of that, start to focus on where some of the building blocks are so that you can mindfully create a state of healthy striving for yourself and leave behind the exhausting, depleting, other people focused overdriving. So if you enjoyed that video, please like, it really helps my channel, and subscribe and click the bell for notifications of upcoming videos. But for now, have a really good week or two, and I'll see you in the next episode.